How good? SummerSlam 2023. It's official. SummerSlam's in the books. It's done. And we're live for once. We haven't been live in months. So we're here. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm good, pal. It's great to be live. It's great to be here on this lovely Elite Heat YouTube channel. It's great to be talking wrestling with you. It's great to see your mustache. How are you doing, pal?
Pal, I'm great. It's 2:27 p.m. here on a Sunday afternoon. Doing amazing. Ready to discuss what was we'll say interesting event. There's plenty to break down here. I know, okay, we were having conversation during the event, and some of the things you were saying, I can't wait to hear your long form opinion on. If there's anything you want to lead us off with, I mean, we can start off the top, just the start of the show, or is there something you want to urgently address to me, pal?
Well, I want to ask you real quick before we get on to talking SummerSlam. You mentioned to me, or my sources told me, I should say, my sources told me that you've actually tried the brand new sports beverage that's taking the world by storm. And that is none other than Prime, the drink that Logan Paul viciously ripped out of a child's hand at ringside in Detroit, Michigan. So can you give us your brutally honest thoughts, your takes, overall, just a quick TikTok food review on Prime?
So I had the orange flavor. Only cost me $4.50. It wasn't $9 like it was at my gym. Only $4.50 for a little drink. So there you go. Orange flavor. You can taste like the coconut water sugar in it. Like you can taste it's like over the top sugary. That's how they kind of try and hook you to try and like it. Personally, I prefer Gatorade. It's less in your face with the flavor. Maybe if I tried a different flavor like Meta Moon or Ice Pop, one of these other ones, or Blue Raspberry, I'd have a better experience.
The melon is the best.
Yeah, the one I had, the orange, it was fine. It's not one I'm going to rush out to pay another $4.50 for again to try, but it wasn't a dud. It wasn't like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, Kevin. It wasn't a dud.
Wow. Scathing. All right, so that's our food and drink reviews with Elite Heat. Thank you for that. So now let's talk about the show. Overall, I guess the ending. We'll start with the ending. Not even overall. We'll do overall thoughts later. Let's talk about the ending, the main event match. So we just witnessed right now, like less than 10 minutes ago, Roman Reigns versus JEY USO in Tribal Combat for the Undisputed Universal Championship and the title of Tribal Chief. And now, I think like if you would have told me, like you personally, Jimmy, if you would have said, hey, this is how the match is going to go based on what we've seen from Roman Reigns in the past 6 to 7 months, I would have agreed with you. You know, like you would have said it spot on. We had the Solo Sikoa interference. We had the Jimmy Uso run in. We had Paul Heyman crying. We had Roman yelling at the crowd. We had rest holds. The only thing missing was a ref bump since it was a no DQ match. Had it been a standard match, we definitely would have got a ref bump. But nevertheless, I'm going to ask you this. So the last time we did a live pay-per-view review, if I'm correct, was Elimination Chamber 2023. And during the duration of that review, you were very upset, very enraged, because I said that Roman Reigns matches have too much interference. Now, I just want to ask you, how do you feel about that take that you had, you know, being very upset, being highly disagreeing, thinking that goes with the story? How did that take age for you? Do you feel the same? Are you still intrigued by Roman Reigns matches and all the interference that we see?
Yeah, that take aged poorly. I'll be the first to admit that. I watched that review and listened to that back recently, and I was cringing. With all things said, I mean, this match, I think we'll address just the general main event. I'll touch on the ending in a moment. Kevin, for context, at what time did they start doing the video package and entrance? Like 11:18, I think, like 11:20 your time PM. They started with this. It was like 3 hours and 20 minutes in. They start the video package for Tribal Combat. They do the video package, and what ensues, so JEY USO comes out with like the white lay on, which I thought the aesthetic looked good with the white lay. Roman comes out, Kevin. How long did Roman's entrance take, do you think? This is Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. How long do you think Roman's entrance would have taken?
Yeah, it took exactly 5 minutes and 46 seconds for Roman Reigns, for his music to hit, and for him to strut down to the ring and then stare at the crowd and then gingerly enter the ring.
Well, Kevin, add in from Roman's music first hitting through to him finishing saying SummerSlam acknowledge me. That was 6 minutes and 44 seconds for Roman. That's basically 7 minutes for the Roman entrance. That's nuts. I don't even think the Undertaker entrances, when the WrestleMania All-Way was like 300 meters long, was that long. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
That being said, I did like Roman's facial expressions. He's on the apron, and there was a solid, like, a minute, just a whole minute of Roman on the apron, not even in the ring. Cameras zoomed in, like, so close to Roman's face, and he's just making, like, angry faces. That was funny. But, yeah, outside of that, a lot of build-up, a lot of kind of pre-match fluff. They're showing Jey, Roman, they're showing Roman's entrance, music, they're showing Heyman's face, they're showing the video package, lots of sort of stuff with this. And as you say, the format is what we sort of expected. You were messaging me as far as what we would expect. Yep, it's going to be 30 more minutes of Roman rest holds, crowd booing, Roman yelling at the crowd. Jey will make a fight back. They'll have some weapon spots. Sakura will get involved. Jimmy Uso will get involved. There'll be some sort of screwy finish, and then it'll be ending. And that's literally what happened. That's the match in about 20 seconds. Some of the stuff they did, I mean, they did some cool spots with the table. They used the chairs in the middle of the match to have a big, like, you know, power bomb sort of. Is Jey going to superplex Roman onto the chairs? So there's a lot of stuff with that. And then eventually they go into the crowd, Kevin, which was fine. 30 minutes into the match, they went into the crowd. I was like, can we just keep this in the ring? End this match already. It's gone for 30 plus minutes now. But yeah, to answer your question, the initial one, Roman matches now, I don't know. Something about this didn't hit the same for me. I don't know whether it's because, as we've discussed at length, Cody should have won at WrestleMania, and that this match, Kevin, they were fighting over the tribal necklace, that red necklace thing that Michael Cole kept saying the name of, I can't remember. Roman's like necklace lay. That was what this match was about. This wasn't about the title. Jey is never going to win the title. We know Jey's not going to be the champion. It's about the Samoan necklace. So, yeah, that being said, I just rambled a bit. Talk to us. What do you think? Other thoughts?
Yeah, I thought the match was good for what it was. Like, you know what it's going to be. And Roman is very good at his formula. He's mastered his formula. So I don't bring up his formula in a demeaning way because he's done it. And he's done it for so long. Every top guy like Roman had a formula. With Hogan, you got the punches, the U, the Hulk up, the big boot, and the leg drop. With Roman, it's interference, it's ref bumps, and it's rest holds and yelling at the crowd. That's just what he does, and he does it better than anyone else will ever do rest holds and yelling at the crowd. Just ask 2012 Randy Orton. He wasn't very good at yelling at the crowd and doing rest holds. But Roman has mastered that skill, that art. Now, I want to talk about the ending, mostly. So now what I thought was going to happen was Solo was going to beat up Roman, and, you know, Roman was going to overcome that and, you know, still win. I thought we were going to get a clean win. You know, I didn't really think that we would see Jimmy Uso turning on Jey. I wasn't, like, fully expecting that. Like, it was in the realm of possibilities that I had laid out, but I didn't think that we would see it. I'm kind of confused now. So you end the pay-per-view or the PLE with the Jimmy and Jey Uso feud. What are they going to be feuding over? Are they going to be feuding over Roman's affection? Are they going to be feuding over a Slim Jim sponsorship? Are they going to be feuding over the U.S. title? Like, what is the basis of the storyline? That's what I'm more intrigued by. I understand, like, obviously it's going to be a family thing, and it's going to be good. However they write it, however they spin it, the storyline is going to be good. I don't doubt that. But it's just kind of like, what I'm wondering is Roman going to get lost in the shuffle now, if that makes sense? We're going to be seeing the Usos feuding. We're going to be seeing Solo out there. And we saw a tease of him and Roman having a little bit of tension with the spear spot and then Solo disobeying Roman. But Roman's taking the next 3 months off from what we've heard and what we've read. So I don't know. I don't really know what to make of this. And the state of SmackDown is kind of in flux. It seems like the Usos is going to be carrying SmackDown for the next 3 months.
Correct. Bang on. That's the first thing I thought when this happened. I was like, okay, Roman's not advertised for a number of the pay-per-views in September and October. I don't even know if he's advertised for Survivor Series. He should be at Survivor Series because he's the champion. But for really the next immediate 2 months particularly, Joe Anoa'i is going to be sitting at home on his couch in Pensacola, Florida with his 5 children and his 3 championship belts sitting on the couch idle, collecting dust. That's basically what's going to be happening. So on the SmackDown side of things, you mentioned the state of flux. Realistically, what we're going to see, Jey Uso coming out there on SmackDown. You betrayed me, Uso. You're my brother, Uso. You turn your back on me. You cost me the biggest match of my life, Uso. Jimmy Uso saying, I did it for you. You try and outshine me, yada, yada. They'll have some pure cinema where they'll be, dramatically, you'll have Jey Uso crying, you cost me my match. Sakura will be just like standing there, like angrily, like Roman punched me. Roman speared me. I'm his right-hand man, even though he's not here. And then Heyman will be just like, Heyman will be crying. Heyman will be on the phone. He'll be Skyping Roman Reigns. My tribal chief says we need to have Jimmy Uso versus Jey at Hell in a Cell or whatever pay-per-view they do in October. That sort of seems like where they're going, which it makes sense. If Roman's not going to appear for 2 months and he's still got the championships, which he shouldn't, is what it is. That's just the avenue they're going. That seems like it's become clear based on this ending. Was it a shock that Jim Uso cost Jey? I mean, Kevin, as soon as Jey hit the spear and the big splash, and you thought, oh my God, Sikoa's out of action. This is his moment. Jey Uso is going to win the title. In the back of my mind, probably your mind, most people watching this mind, you thought, what guy wearing a black hood is going to show up? What BS is going to ensue? And as soon as they hit the 2 count, man in a black hood pulled Jey Uso out. Oh, right on cue. There you go, pal. So, yeah. Kevin, you excited for 3 months of, I did everything for you, Uso? And then Jimmy Uso being like, saying things back and forth. Heyman sobbing on the phone on Skype to Roman Reigns. Like, there you go, pal.
Hey, I'm down for it. I'm actually down for it. I agree with Art. I kind of want to watch SmackDown now. It's something different seeing the Usos feud. I know we joke about it, but when you think about like brother feuds and tag team feuds that we've seen, like the Hardys feud wasn't that good. Edge and Christian never really had one. The Usos one-on-one feud, getting 3 months and 3 pay-per-views worth of content, I'm here for it. I want to see what they do with it. I'm interested to see how Solo and Heyman fall into the mix. I assume Heyman's going to be with Jimmy. Just to see where Solo is, that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and one more thing on that before we move on. So it seems obvious now, Jey will be the main event guy of SmackDown. He's going to be the main event babyface on that show. Unless the chat disagrees or there's someone we're forgetting about, or it seems like it's going to be Jey against his brother Jimmy, and then Solo and Heyman will probably presumably still be on the the heel side of things. So does anyone step up to help Jey Uso? What happens? Where do they go from here? At least there's some questions, something to play out, something we're interested to see. So hats off there. I know I certainly joke about it a moment ago, but it's all for entertainment. It should be entertaining. It's not going to be bad by any means, but it just means Roman won't be there for probably a couple of months. Get him through to Survivor Series, get him through to WrestleMania season, and go from there. Go from there with Sikoa, a Cody feud, whoever. So there you have it.
There it is. I want to ask you this. Mm-hmm. Now, this crowd was they were not into a lot of moments in this show. Particularly, they were not into the women's triple threat match, and they were not into Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. And they were pretty flat for the rest of the show. I mean, they were into it at points. Like, Roman got a pretty good reaction when he came out, but the duration of that match, the crowd was kind of sitting on their hands. So with that being said, I'll ask you, because I was actually thinking about this. Like, I was like trying to go back in my brain and think about crowds that we've seen. Is this the worst crowd in the PLE era, at least in the network and the Peacock era? I can't remember a crowd more on their hands. Like maybe the WrestleMania 34 crowd. That crowd was just like,
oh, you're going back that far. I thought you meant like the Triple H PLE era. You're going back to 2018.
No, I'm like the network era. Like I'm talking like since the network started.
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh. No, I'm not comparing this crowd to like a Stomping Grounds 2019. They couldn't even fill the building.
Okay, I'm not talking. I'm talking about the big shows.
The big ones, like the WrestleManias, the SummerSlams, the Royal Rumbles.
Yes. Money in the Bank. Like I'm talking about like the big 4, big 5. Yeah.
I thought the crowd was decent. This wasn't a backlash in Puerto Rico. This wasn't an elimination chamber in Montreal where the crowd's just exceedingly amazing and we're praising the crowd afterwards for making the show from like an 8 to a 9 or like a 6 to an 8 sort of thing. It's not like that. I don't think the crowd was. I don't know. I'll phrase it like this: when you have a 4-hour, 20-minute show where you could have shaved off an hour and a half, and a lot of the stuff went either too long or didn't need to happen at SummerSlam. Fair enough in many regards. There was a bit sort of lukewarm to so-so at stages. I mean, it wasn't like a Stomping Grounds 2019 crowd where they might as well not have been there. But with that being said, after the COVID era with the Thunderdome, I'm happy with any fans because, I mean, they were good at stages. So.
No, facts. But I was thinking, I'm looking back at all the WrestleManias, the Royal Rumbles, like even the Royal Rumble 2015 crowd. They hated everything that was going on, but they were so into it. This crowd, I mean, this is a SummerSlam. This is the Triple H era. We're just getting into the prime of what Triple H can do in this new era. You know, you got a big show. We've seen raucous crowds. Even in LA at WrestleMania, the crowd was raucous. Where was Royal Rumble? Was it St. Louis?
I think so.
Houston, maybe Houston. Wherever the Royal Rumble was, that crowd was good.
The Astrodome, yeah.
Yeah, the Astrodome. All the international crowds, they're always good. They don't get wrestling all the time. But I mean, this is Detroit. This is one of the marquee cities of the United States of America. This is a stadium show. And they didn't have the energy that you would expect. Like, they were good up front. The first, what was it? The first 3 matches they were hot for. They were hot for LA Knight. They were hot for Paul and Ricochet. They were hot for Cody and Brock. And then Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey come out, and the crowd just died, and they never really picked up that momentum again.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I guess on that, do you want to now take it back to the start and just kind of go through and give our main opinions and everything? SummerSlam 23. For starters, I mean, the opening was good. I liked it. I mean, I liked the presentation. I like the line of tonight. We make history in the Motor City, and they're showing bits from 95. They're showing bits from the early 2000s. They're making it seem like this is the night that, they put on history at SummerSlam. Any thoughts on that? Yeah, it's a decent open.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah. Nothing really write home about, but I thought it was fine. Now let's talk about Logan Paul versus Ricochet.
Yep.
Man, God, I can't believe they brought Ricochet's fiance into this just to have him lose. Like, man, oh man, it's bad enough that this is really his first big storyline and big feud in WWE since he got there, and then they bring his fiance into it. And then he loses. And Logan's like, oh, announce my name again. Come on, baby. Say it again. Announce who won. And I get it. Logan Paul is not coming into WWE. He's not inking multi-million-dollar deals with WWE and orchestrating multi-million-dollar partnerships with Prime for him to lose to Ricochet. I understand that. But, man, bringing his fiance into it, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things you can say about this, about Logan, how just much of a natural he is at this, and how, especially in the first 5 minutes, he was working the crowd. I thought that was the highlight. The first 5 to 8 minutes when Logan's dominating the match, and he's doing he does the Hogan move, and he does the ear thing. He's doing his flexing.
That was great.
And just generally when he hits the neck breaker move on the apron, and he's he goes to his own fiance, and then he points at Samantha Irwin, and stuff like that was really well done. That presentation of Logan was excellent, and that was the best part of the match. My opinion, this match went 5 to 7 minutes too long. Ricochet, this is Ricochet. On the main roster, what's he done? He's been destroyed by Brock Lesnar in 90 seconds in Saudi Arabia. He's had some good US IC title sort of stuff across the place, and he's been a tag team with Braun Strowman for a year. So he hasn't really done anything in that regard. He's not an established guy. He doesn't need to have that many near falls in his match. This didn't need to be 18 minutes long. This could have been 10 to 12, and would have been just as good. Kevin, the ending, I want your ruthless opinion on. We have one of Logan's team, Logan's laid out on the apron. His team just somehow gets to ringside, I guess. There was no security or something. Gives him brass knuckles. Logan Paul is struggling to beat this guy who we've been told is a mid-card, the lower mid-card guy, Ricochet. After 18 minutes, a heap of near falls. He needs brass knuckles to cheat to beat him. I guess any thoughts on that? What was your opinion when the ending happened, pal? Walk us through that, pal.
So I thought it was funny hearing Michael Cole say that's Logan Paul's buddy. It's just okay, you don't even know the guy's name. We don't know why this guy is here, who he is. He's Logan Paul's buddy. Thank you for that, Michael Cole, or whatever the word was that he said. His co-host or something. I don't know what he said, but
he's a member of his team. It's Logan's team member. It's okay, thanks, Cole. Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that they're gonna run this back in front of the Saudi prince. That's the only thing I could think of. Like Logan Paul's probably not going to be on Payback, but he's probably going to be in Saudi, so they'll run it back then. We'll get more Logan Paul taunting Samantha Irvin. Good.
Kevin, I'm sure the Saudi prince wants Logan Paul versus Yokozuna. Come on now. Come on now.
God.
Like the Saudi prince is like, who's the Ricochet? Like, who's this Ricochet guy? We don't know him. We want Goldberg. We want Yokozuna. We want Ultimate Warrior. Who is this Ricochet? But nonetheless, Kevin, like this match, they did do some cool stuff. The Spanish fly spots at ringside were just ridiculous. Like they try a Spanish fly. You'd think if they botch this, what's going on? Then they just look at each other and just do a Spanish fly on the floor. And it's like, okay, cool, I guess. Nice, awesome. And then they did like this moonsault into a tornado DDT thing. And it was what we expected coming in. Some really cool, like, oh my God, like that's really insane acrobatics. And then one thing I want to mention as well before I pass back to you, the whole bit they were doing with Rocket Mortgage donating for every top rope move, they donate money to whatever. I was thinking, they're doing this in the wrong promotion. You do this in AEW with CM Punk and his top rope moves, or he botched and really injured himself. You do this at Botchmaster Phil and AEW with the top rope donations, you'd be making packets, Kevin. But instead, they did in WWE where they don't use the top rope as much. So, yeah, Kevin, there you go. Any thoughts on that?
Wow. Thank you for that. I want to shout out Logan Paul doing Braun Strowman's Power Slam because Ricochet and Braun Strowman, they're buddies. They're Corey.
Kevin, that is long-term storytelling. Triple H sits in his room at 11 p.m. at night before he goes to bed and plans these SummerSlam spots, Kevin. That is masterful creative. But, yeah, no, that was good. That was, once again, just Logan Paul. Then after that, he was, like, taunting. He was, like, doing these big over-the-top flexes. He was, like, roaring like Braun Strowman after. That was hilarious because, you know, it's Braun Strowman, pal, the man who went toe-to-toe with Tyson Fury in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 2019. But, yeah, decent match. As I said, thought it went 5 to 7 minutes too long. The ending was a bit but that was me. Kevin, I gave it, where's my star rating here? Let's check my notes. I gave it 3.5 stars, personally. Ending hurt it, and the match went too long, but there you go.
Yeah, I agree with you. 3.5. We just got an interesting comment that I'm not going to read on air that I'll tell you off air. So yeah, what a comment. But Kevin, yeah.
I'm saying professional. I'm not looking at the chat. So, because we're trying to keep this, especially for the Spotify and the audio platforms, these live streams can go off the rails quite easily, as they have with our Elimination Chamber, for instance, and some other ones. Keeping this on format so you guys get to listen to us live. And then, yeah, I'll engage with you all afterwards. But there you go.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat just in case they say something that I forget. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what a comment. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but yeah, Michael Cole saying that it was a good match, but the ending sucked. Man, Michael Cole was in his bag. He referenced gaslighting at one point. He said this match sucked, or the ending sucked to this match. I'm sorry. Like, Michael Cole in the Triple H era, without the shackles from Vince and Katie McMahon, Michael Cole is fantastic. But about Logan Paul Ricochet, I agree. 3.5 stars. I expected more, personally. I was waiting for that viral moment. It never really came. I do think in Saudi Arabia, in front of the Saudi prince, they'll show out and they'll do more. Maybe they'll do like a TLC match with like a bottle of Prime on is hanging up in the rafters.
Prime on a pole, pal. Prime on a pole. Guarantee it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so moving on. Now, we got Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. So this match started really slow. It was really diabolical and really slow. And it was Cody getting his ass beat for like 9.5 minutes. And then eventually Cody makes his babyface return. And he gets a good match. Or not a good match. He gets a good finish. A good ending. Good hot ending. I have like really two big takeaways from this. One, I don't think Cody and Brock really mesh that well stylistically. Cody's one of the rare guys that Brock seems to have a difficult time getting a great match out of. I thought this match, if we're talking star ratings, I'd probably say like 3 3/4. But my other big takeaway is this. Cody is a damn good babyface. He might be the best babyface that we see in the last, I don't know how long in WWE. Maybe since Daniel Bryan. I don't want to, maybe not. I don't know. I can't think of anyone in that time frame, because in that time frame we had shoehorn Roman Reigns that was getting booed out of buildings and starting riots as the top babyface. So Cody Rhodes this version of Cody Rhodes being the best babyface in the last 10 plus years, like you guys sound off in the chat. You tell me what you think, but Cody's at that level. And in this match, he shined. The spots like where Brock is like, Brock's going outside. He's suplexing him on the outside. He's getting back in the ring, demanding the ref count. And he's like just so angry that Cody keeps getting up. It's like the audacity of this kid coming back in the ring, interrupting this. And Cody's selling the way he's crawling into the ring, the way he's like struggling to get up, to stand up against the ropes. Everything he did, textbook babyface 101. It's stuff like that is the reason why guys like Jim Cornette and Bret Hart, who hate everything about modern wrestling, love Cody Rhodes. It's just, he's for everyone. Everyone loves him. The jaded old heads from the 60s and 70s and the 80s, people like yourself, people like from that realm to that, from one realm to the other, and everything in between. Everybody loves Cody.
Yeah, as the documentary shows, which they plugged on this show, he's like a complete babyface talent, as you mentioned. This match, I'll make the take now. It was Brock's best non-weapons match since I'd say SummerSlam, either 2019 against Rollins, or if you want to go before that, I don't even know. Maybe like 7-8 years. Brock's best just one-on-one non-weapons match, because obviously last man standing at SummerSlam last year against Roman was probably more fun than this. That was just a car crash, really fun match with the tractor. That was more enjoyable than this. But this was really well done. I think for Brock Lesnar in 2023, this is about as good as you're going to get. This got 17, 18 minutes. This was stylistically, I enjoyed it. I found it funny. I know some people get really bored when Brock's like dominating a match and he's beat red. He's like purple in the face. He's drenched in sweat. He's like a human sweat bath. He's a sweat shower. Cody's at ringside, like dying for 5-10 minutes. Brock will go out, as you say, throw him on the floor, slam him into a pole, hit a move, drop him on the ground, go back in the ring, bounce around for a bit, yell at the referee, yell at Cody, screaming him to stay down. Cody every time got in at 9. Brock was like roaring. I found it funny. I was entertained by it. I liked it. Then the second half of the match, it really picked up. They got in the ring, Kevin. Cody got his comeback going. He was hitting his offense. He was hitting his disaster kicks, hitting his moves, laying shots into the beast. I love Cody's Kimura lock. I found that funny. Just because Brock's obviously this just giant freak of nature, 130 kilogram, like 280 pound combat warlord athlete. And you've got Cody Rhodes Cody could barely wrap himself around Brock. I found that hilarious. He locks in the Kimura. Eventually they do the finish with the 3 crossroads. Really good ending. My main takeaway from this, especially during the post-match, I'm watching this going, similar to what you say, this is the babyface of 2023. This is like the star, the face of this year. Hopefully he gets a world title this year to kind of show for it, because I don't think a year Cody's had this year, it's fair that he just doesn't have any sort of world title to show for it. I don't know, because he was brilliant once again here. Great reception. He made Brock look great. Brock made Cody look great. It worked really well. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I was a big fan. It wasn't as good as Best vs. the Beast as I hyped in the SummerSlam preview, but it was still pretty good. Still pretty good for Brock 2023 standards. So, one more thing. Michael Cole as well, early in the match, is going on about how Brock's defeated 16 Hall of Famers. He's beat 16 Hall of Famers with offense like this. I'm thinking, the same Hall of Fame that, as we discussed in the Macho Man bio, Randy Savage wasn't even in until 2015 when they begrudgingly put him in, and he put Coco Beware in 2011. That Hall of Fame, Michael Cole, the Hall of Fame where that could go down a whole separate rabbit hole. We'll do elite heats on that in months to come. But nonetheless, Cody Brock, 3 SummerSlam, success. I liked it.
There you go. Yeah, and Brock gives Cody the big rub at the end of the match. They have like a little stare down. They get nose to nose. Everybody's like, oh, Brock's going to beat his ass again for like the 100th time in the last 4 months. But one day we'll do a drinking game every time Cody gets his ass beat by Brock. We'll see how fun that goes. But yeah, I was like, okay, Brock's going to beat his ass again. And then that's it. They're going to set up the 4th match for the Saudi Prince at Hell in a Cell. That's what I thought it was going to be. But no, yeah. Brock gives Cody a big handshake, a big hug. It was kind of interesting. I thought the commentary, the choice of words that Corey Graves used here, I thought was interesting. Mm-hmm. Saying that Cody has arrived now. that's kind of interesting to say he's arrived because Brock Lesnar's hugging him. You know, I mean, he challenged for the World Championship 4 months prior, and he won the Royal Rumble. So to really drive home that Cody's arrived, what has he arrived to? He beat Brock Lesnar, so now he's what? He's arrived. I don't get it. He's arrived at the hotel in Detroit. The match is over. Is that where he arrived to? He arrived backstage to do an interview for a podcast or a wrestling news website. What is Cody exactly arrived to?
This goes to that whole narrative that I remember ranting on at length, that Cody wasn't ready at WrestleMania 39, that he hadn't proven himself yet. Even though, Kevin, maybe I have amnesia, maybe I'm getting old, pal. Last time I remember, Cody had this epic WrestleMania 38 return to WWE against Seth Rollins. Huge WrestleMania, big moment, big return. I thought he arrived then. What about, Kevin, when Cody arrived with the torn pectoral muscle at Hell in a Cell 2022? What about that? Did he arrive when he had that match of the year against Seth Rollins in the polka dot? I thought he arrived then. So that's a minimum 2 arrivals. Then I thought he arrived at the Royal Rumble when he made a big return, had a great duel with Gunther, eliminated like 5 people and won the match. Isn't that 3 arrivals? What about that? Or maybe when he had some of those face-offs with Roman Reigns in March 2023. Isn't that like a 4th arrival? Or when he arrived at WrestleMania 39 with that epic entrance, the crowd was going crazy. Wrestling Gifts was in the audience. Superkick Studios was in the audience. They were screaming Cody's name, screaming, "Whoa, pal, this man arrived," okay? 5 times already. And then you can say when he beat Brock at Backlash, he arrived as well. He's arrived 5 or 6 times, but Kevin, now he's arrived. When Finn Balor came up to the main roster, when did he arrive? He was just given the Universal Championship within 3 seconds of being on the main roster. Double standards, hypocritical, the verbiage of Corey Graves, which, by the way, as they announced, Kevin, midway through this show, there's now a commentary shake-up, pal. Corey Graves is coming to SmackDown. You excited, pal? Wade Barrett to Raw?
Oh, my God. We have to listen to Corey Graves. SmackDown's a show that I mainly watch live. Now I'm probably going to start watching Raw. We're going to have Corey Graves yelling about Jimmy and Jey Uso. He's going to be telling us every single week that Jey Uso arrived. Whatever. I digress. Now,
okay, one more thing. Before we move on, and Raw is going to be what Wade Barrett and Kevin Patrick. So it's going to be a European flavor, just yelling at how great Gunther is.
Cole's going to be on both.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, but sorry. By this point, by the time they announced that was around the Rousey and Baszler time. I'd sort of tuned out. So, pardon me for not getting the exact specifics of that down pat. But yeah, there you go.
There it is. All right. So now let's talk about the Meat Stick Battle Royal. So first thing to note, we got the old Macho Man Slim Jim ads being played like in the picture-in-picture. I thought that was cool. A little bit of nostalgia. I got the Randy Savage shirt on. So yeah, that's awesome. We just talked about Randy Savage too. I should have been wearing this shirt when we did the Randy Savage podcast, but whatever, is what it is. This Battle Royal, the only thing you need to know is LA Knight finally got the big win. He's going to be added to the United States triple threat match. And if there is a God out there, if the wrestling gods do exist, JBL, please, I pray to you, JBL, give that United States Championship to LA Knight. The fact that Austin Theory has been relegated to the Meat Stick Battle Royal after he beat John Felix Anthony Cena Jr. clean in the opening match of WrestleMania. Not a house show, not main event, not Raw, not SmackDown, not NXT, not Battleground, not Stomping Grounds 2019, not Hell in a Cell 2019, not Money in the Bank, not Royal Rumble, not Survivor Series. Austin Theory beat John Cena clean in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania. And now he's been relegated to a pay-per-view. I mean, not a pay-per-view, a Battle Royal that's sponsored by a meat stick. I can't believe it. So please, JBL, if you're out there, please put that United States Championship on LA Knight. That's all I have to say about this.
Yeah, I don't have much on this, honestly. It's a battle royal. What can you really say? I mean, Omos was there. which everyone is excited about. It's cool saying Omos. I mean, Omos faced Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. It's weird that 4 months ago, Omos faced Brock effing Lesnar at WrestleMania, and Theory beat Cena, and now we're sitting here at SummerSlam 4 months later, and it's like, oh, yeah. I mean, Omos is back, awesome, but Theory, Kevin. I mean, we'll discuss this at length more in either Elite Take later in the week or as months go on. But as show after show unfolds, that Theory Cena match outcome, everything about it looks worse and worse. Theory felt like an afterthought in this match. It was like, oh, Theory's there. He's in the Slim Jim meat stick match, pal. He's in the Macho Man meat stick match. Like, okay, great. LA Knight won. Cool. Awesome for him. Amazing. Good moment. Crowd was into it. Cool. But my word, yeah. Theory is dead in the water. He is. What is different about 2023 Theory to 2011 Mason Ryan? You tell me. Guy with muscles, can't cut a promo. Office likes him, but there's nothing there. There's no substance. There's no oomph. There's nothing there for. There's nothing for the fans to get behind. At least Grayson Waller is something you can get behind with him. Same with Omos. Same with Lashley and the Street Profits, which they're doing now. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can get into. Theory, no. Let's move on.
Yeah. Let's make this about LA Knight just for a moment before we move on.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about LA Knight just in general? I already gave my kind of thoughts.
No, I like the presentation of this. I think this was the moment he needed. It wasn't winning a world title. It wasn't a big marquee main event match, but it was a moment. It was much better than WrestleMania when he wasn't even there. And it was something for him. It was something where he can talk about it in promos. I have my SummerSlam moment. Now I'm going to have another moment when I win the US title, or when I win this match at Survivor Series, and when I go into the Royal Rumble, stuff like that. So, yeah, no, it was good. It was a good moment for LA Knight. The crowd was into it, which that was one of the high points for the crowd, Kevin. We talked about them earlier. When LA Knight won this match, crowd was really into it. So, there you have it.
And I think LA Knight should pick up the reins of the meat stick sponsorship. It makes sense since his catchphrase is, yeah. All right, let's talk about the MMA rules match. Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey. This match went 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and that's 7 minutes and 30 seconds that I will never get back in my life. How do I describe this match? It was MMA rules. We got like a shoot knee from Ronda Rousey. We got a shoot head kick from Shayna Baszler. And that was realistically the highlights of the match. I don't know what to say about this. I don't really have a lot of analysis to offer. I don't know. The crowd went dead. This show or this match sucked the life out of the crowd. Sucked the life out of the show. I don't understand. I'm struggling to figure out why this wasn't the buffer before the main event. I got nothing. Like, why did they put this on after the crowd was at a very high with LA Knight winning the Battle Royal? Yeah. I don't know what they thought. I don't know. This match, it was like good, I guess. I don't know. I have nothing. Go ahead.
Triple H likes Shayna Baszler, I guess. That's the only real thing, the reason this was on the show. Kevin, do you want me in the chat, do you want me to read my notes for this?
Yes, please.
This is what Jimmy the Elitist, this is what wrestling YouTuber, formerly consistent wrestling YouTuber, now part-time washed YouTuber, JTE, thought about this match. WWE MMA doesn't work. We know it's fake. It's not real. Watching people roll around on the mat is not fun. It's just not. It works when they're legitimately trying to injure and hurt each other. This doesn't. It was 3-4 minutes of Shayna and Ronda awkwardly grappling and rolling on top of each other, and the crowd was like, eh. So that was that. And then one more thing. I go, Ronda couldn't break the Kirifuda pal. Whatever, move on. That was literally my note. Ronda couldn't break the Kirifuda pal. Whatever, move on. That's what this match did. This was 8 minutes, and there was a knee strike, as you say, Kevin. So quite literally, this is a SummerSlam match. Kevin, pay-per-view time is like gold. Lashley only got 30 seconds at WrestleMania. LA Knight couldn't even get a WrestleMania spot. Here we have 15 minutes, 20 minutes of pay-per-view time devoted to Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey, a knee strike, and a Kirifuda, and then rolling on the mat when the crowd was dead. Thrilling. Let's move on.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is watch out, Io Sky. Triple H is about to write Shayna Baszler's name on a piece of paper going over for your championship that you just won. So we're here for it. It's next. A 13-month-long Shayna Baszler women's title run is coming on SmackDown, so Get ready for that, everyone. Then we got to the Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. Gunther gets the win, as a lot of us expected. Mm-hmm. Gunther wins mainly because they want him to break Honky Tonk Man's record, which I think is commendable. It's commendable. Gunther's a much better Intercontinental Champion than Honky Tonk Man was. So it makes sense to have one of, if not the greatest Intercontinental Champion, own the longest reigning title record. And Drew McIntyre will be fine. If Drew McIntyre recovered from swinging a sword at Jinder Mahal and his buddies, he'll be fine. Losing to Gunther, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Watching it play out, he lost. Okay, it's fine. McIntyre will be okay. McIntyre is still going to be doing Good Morning Today on NBC. Whenever WWE needs someone to do a PR run, he's fine. What do you think about this?
I love that bit of analysis. That's so true. Drew will be the guy who, when WWE needs to promote their 3 European tours every year, he'll be the face of it. So, yeah, there's that. Nonetheless, Kevin, I'll read you my notes. This is word for word what I wrote. First note. You ready for this?
Yep.
Corey Graves is garbage.
Can you tell us why? He's garbage.
Direct quote. He was describing a Gunther dropkick. He goes, "It's like being dropkicked by a Tyrannosaurus Rex." I'm thinking to myself,
Barney the dinosaur?
I'm thinking, Kevin, we had Jesse the Body Ventura, Gorilla Monsoon, we had Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, Taz, Joey Styles, Kevin Kelly does other company stuff. All these legendary wrestling commentators. I'm forgetting so many, but there's so many great commentators. And what we've got at SummerSlam in this big time Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther, Drew McIntyre, heavyweight, these gladiators, these immortals slugging it out. It's like being dropkicked by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Cole. Yeah, that being said, we move on. The match, I thought, watching it, same thing I think during most Drew McIntyre matches. I'm just watching the match with Drew thinking, that's the guy Roman Reigns looked in the eyes in an empty arena and said, "You're always number 2. You will never be better than me." That stain is with Drew forever. I was watching this and all I was thinking was, that's the guy John and I sat down and smugly went, "I don't watch Raw. No one does. You're number 2. No one cares about your title. I got my title. It's a blueberry shortcake and it's more meaningful than your belt because I'm Roman Reigns. You're Drew McIntyre. You're number 2. Ever since that happened in 2020, Kevin, I can't look at Drew the same, but the match was really good. I personally feel like I maybe hyped this up too much because I hyped this up as this will be match of the year, 5 stars, like their WrestleMania match was with Sheamus. This was great, but it wasn't 5 stars. It was, 4 and whatever. It was entertaining. Obviously, what you'd expect, some brutal moves. My favorite part, Kevin, is when I believe it was Drew was sitting in the middle of the ring, kind of holding his head, and Gunther was just slapping him like this. There was no coordination to it. There was no style. It wasn't crisp choreography. It was just a 6'4" Austrian smacking this 6'5" Jack Scotsman. So there was that. And also Corey Graves trying to do an "and still" in the Gunther voice. We didn't need that either. Yeah. Corey Graves tried to be Austrian. We didn't need that. Yeah. So that's my takeaway. As I said, Corey Graves is garbage, was my takeaway. What were your thoughts?
Wow. Corey Graves is garbage. What a line. We got to quote that one. I thought this match was 4 stars. 4.5 stars if Tony Khan had wrote their names on paper before the match. 4 3/4.
What if it was in Japan though?
Yeah, 4. I was gonna say 4 3/4 if it took place in the Tokyo Dome. If their feet were on Tokyo Dome soil, it's a 4 3/4 star match. Who knows if it took place at All Out 2019, it could have been a 5.5 star match. But man, this was I thought it was good. I thought it was a good, solid wrestling match. I had nothing really wrong with it. I expected a little bit more, just because it went a little short. I thought we'd get maybe 15, 16, closer to 20 minutes in this match. But, it's fine. They went out there. They did what they do. It was, man, some of those chops, man, they were ugly. And then, the spot where they're, standing on the top turnbuckle and they're just slapping each other in the face, I was, cringing. Oh, my God. That was brutal. These two guys are tough as nails. I couldn't even fathom wrestling a match that they wrestle. So all hats off to them. It was good stuff. Gunther wins. Gunther won clean and decisive. I wasn't really expecting that, but I think it's really the only way to do it. I don't think you already had a lot of interference in this show and a lot of fuck finishes. I didn't think you needed another one, so I'm happy with that. Good.
And just one more thing on Gunther. I want your thoughts. I mean, the chat can chime in on this. Where to sort of from here? Because Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam was always going to be the one where if he's going to lose the title, probably be there, you'd think, because it's an established guy at SummerSlam. There's a big stadium. Now, he's probably going to hold it to WrestleMania because, I mean, Brian mentions that, they might do a Gunther-Gable feud or Gunther. They're going to have feuds to fill Gunther in through the next few months where none of the guys are realistically going to beat him. So I guess you're going to have, IC champion Gunther heading into WrestleMania, probably winning the Royal Rumble at this rate. I think he's the favorite if it's not Cody. So you might have IC champion Gunther versus world champion Rollins. There's a title versus title, something like that. Maybe Gunther versus Brock for the IC title, I guess, something like that. I don't know. But at this point, as they were saying over and over and over again on commentary, he's the third longest reigning champion. He's getting up there in his all-time rankings. So clearly they're going to make him the longest reigning IC champion of all time. That's obviously the direction from here. So that'll happen. Hats off to Gunther. I must say, as we've discussed, he has saved that title. That title was Nakamura holding it for 8 months and defending it twice. That's what that belt was. And it was like Braun Strowman and all that crap. Now it's actually something worth winning. So hats off to Gunther and the E-Pow, Paul Levesque. But looks like he will hold it for 6 more months minimum. That's right.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, the Intercontinental Championship feels more important than ever, honestly. Gunther's done that. Credit to him. I'd love to see a title versus title match with Gunther versus whoever, whichever champion you want to put him in there with. But now let's talk about let's just keep on this train of talking about secondary championships.
Yeah.
You got Seth Rollins versus your favorite wrestler, Finn Balor, a.k.a. Fergal Devitt, or as we call him, Fergs, or Fergie, whatever you want to call him. We had Seth freaking Rollins versus Finn Fergie Devitt going up against the odds pal, going for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match got 18 minutes, 30 seconds. Fair. The storyline going into this was the fact that Finn Balor held the championship 7 years ago after Vince McMahon wrote his name on a piece of paper to go over Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2016. Yep. And that was the premise of the storyline going into Money in the Bank. And it was still the premise going in here to SummerSlam. Now, for this match, we did get the added wrinkle of Damian Priest being Mr. Money in the Bank. We got some tension teased between him and Fergie. I guess that made things interesting.
Don't call him Fergie, please. That's painful.
The first 14 minutes and 20 seconds of this match was like NyQuil for me. It could have put me to sleep. My dog was snoring next to me. So shout out to Fergs and Seth. They put my dog to sleep. And nothing against them. They're great talents.
Yeah.
But we've been there, done that with this. And then we got the interference, which is cool. Damian Priest comes out. He brings out Rhea and Dominic. Rhea Ripley, the women's champion. That's her appearance on SummerSlam. Did they even plan a title feud or a championship match for her? Who knows? Not my place to speculate.
Yeah.
But she's out there holding Dom's hand. Damian hands Fergie the briefcase. Fergie goes to grab it. Rollins curb stomps Fergie. 1, 2, 3. Hit the bell. Match is over. What do you have to say?
I have a lot to say. I'll condense it and keep this sort of. The story, we've addressed this in the preview. You know my thoughts on Fergie. That makes me cringe. Fergie. I like the Balor had the 7 written on his the shoulder, the part that got injured years ago. That was a nice touch. That was good. That was creative. That stood out. I like that. One line from Corey Graves where early in the match they're going about how this could be Balor's last chance, and Graves goes, "How many more chances is Balor going to get?" And my first thought was, well, plenty, because Triple H likes him. He's a Triple H favorite. He's going to get plenty of chances. What do you mean? Anyway, so there was that. Match rolled on. They did some good spots. I like Balor doing the running powerbomb to Rollins into the barricade and some callbacks to the match 7 years ago. I like the premise of the callbacks. That was cool. One thing I can't get over, it's a World Heavyweight Championship match. When I think World Heavyweight Championship, I think Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt having a fair match in an octagon.
Oh my
I think
God.
Lesnar and Goldberg. Finn Balor, I kid you not, he's the same height and similar weight to me. We have the same body type, we have the same body shape. He has better abs than I do, but we're both very similar build. I'm not a heavyweight. I have no business in a heavyweight title fight, a heavyweight championship match. I guess Finn Balor's a heavyweight championship competitor. I don't know, whatever. Wrestling's not real. I'm not going to carry on that much. One thing I will say, Dirty Dom as a nickname for Dominic is amazing. That was just so good. Like, that was just terrific. Then the commentary, Michael Cole yelling, like when Dirty Dom got stomped or dropped on the ground late in the match, he goes, that idiot Dirty Dom he just suffered a blow. Like, Cole's yelling, that idiot Dirty Dom. I'm like, that was just the best visual for this guy, Dominic. That was great. And yeah, Rhea Ripley. This is the second best Australian talent behind Grayson Waller, the second most entertaining, the most entertaining female talent. And she's being reduced to what? Awkwardly standing around ringside watching Damian Priest roll in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to retract it. Now I'm going to throw it over the top rope. Now the ref's distracted. Now Rollins is looking this way. Now Balor's this way. Coup de grace, pal. 2 count. Oh, now there's Priest. The briefcase is here again. Now the briefcase is over there. Now the briefcase is over here. Now the briefcase is over there. That was literally the last 5 minutes of this match, Kevin. It was spot the briefcase, Damian Priest shenanigans, Rollins wins. What did I rate this match? I gave this 3.75. I thought they saved it late. The last 5 minutes really saved this because, Kevin, I was falling asleep. I was the same as you. Watching them talk about Balor's last chance, I was on the brink of falling asleep, and it's 2 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. So there you go, pal. That's me.
There it is. Yeah, I give it a 3-star. Nothing really to write home about. Too much interference for my liking. There's a ton of interference on this show and a ton of shenanigans, so not my liking. Now, let's talk about this women's triple threat match.
Sorry. One more thing. Real quick. Can we address this backstage segment of the Alpha Academy and The Miz?
Oh, I don't want to, so I'll let you go.
Chat, I know you know what I'm talking about. This backstage segment. If you haven't seen this is something where if Triple H, if Vince McMahon was just the head of creative and this segment happened, it would be crucified for weeks. This would be the segment that gets talked about as one of the worst of 2023. Quite literally, the Alpha Academy's backstage. Gable's got his drink. They're talking about, I'm Mike. A Mike is this. Cody's a Mike. Guys who are like Chads are a Mike. They're Mikes. The Miz comes over looking like a Jedi in his yellow and black Jedi gear with his sunglasses on. They're backstage. There's no reason for any of this. And they start yelling at each other. Miz is like, I'm a harder Mike. And Gable's like, I'm a harder Mike. And then, Miz is like, you're not harder than I am. I'm sitting here watching this going, who's this for? What segment of the focus group is this for? Is this for children? Is this for families? Is this for Grandpa Joe, who's 62, who's watched WWE since he was 7? Who's this for? What focus group is this for? And then they end the segment. The Miz gets dumped in a box, and then he gets wheeled away, and the segment just ends. And I thought that was 4 minutes of pay-per-view time and lifetime I will never get back. So Kevin, that's my review. Unless you want to comment on that, you can move to the women's match.
Yeah, I'm just going to go straight to this triple threat women's match. Thank you for that lovely recount of the Mike's Hard Lemonade ad. And Nick Khan with these sponsorships, man, he's relentless with the sponsorships. But I digress. So Bianca Belair, she defeated Asuka and Charlotte Flair in a triple threat women's match. I'm going to ask this question off top. What was the point of Asuka winning the title at Backlash or Night of Champions, whenever she won it? Just to hand it back to Bianca so Io Sky can cash in on Bianca. Why not have Bianca just continue her reign and then do the cash in on Bianca? Whatever. I'm not looking at stuff. I don't have the pencil.
Yeah.
Second question I'll ask is Bianca Belair, how good of a seller is she? She had everybody thinking that she legitimately tore her ACL or her quad or something twice. Yeah, so think about that. Let that fester. I'll comment what I thought about this match overall. This was hitting AEW dark levels of botches. There was I can't remember specifically what the moves were, but I just remember watching that didn't look crisp or clean. Not the kind of work rate that we would expect from talents the levels of Asuka, Charlotte, and Bianca Belair. I know Twitter loves this match, and that's probably about it.
Why?
My friends are not going to care about this match. Casual wrestling fans are not going to care about this match. Old school wrestling fans are not going to care about this match, and so on and so forth. Twitter loved it for whatever reason. They loved Io Sky cashing in. That's great. Io Sky is now, she's the WWE Women's Champion, and Rhea's the World Women's Champion, something like that. So Io Sky has the SmackDown belt, and yeah, who knows what's going to happen, but I thought it was a nice moment for her. Give it to someone else. Literally, it's the women's championship scene has been a revolving door of Becky, Bianca, and Charlotte, and like Bayley and Sasha Banks sprinkled in there for the past like 7-8 years. So I'm all for whenever someone new gets a chance.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more on that. This match, we discussed this in the preview, this came into the show cold. There wasn't really anyone talking about this match as the match they're really looking forward to at SummerSlam. Maybe there's a few exemptions who just love Belair or love Charlotte, like the 3 people who are like that. But on the whole, no one's really coming in going, yes, SummerSlam 2023, one of the top 3 matches I'm looking forward to is that women's title match with Charlotte, Asuka, and Belair. No one's really like that. So they come in, they do the first like 10 minutes, it's going along. Belair does this move, like this moonsaulty looking, the leg gives out, and you're thinking, oh my God, you messaged me this in the Discord. It's like a Vince McMahon quad tear type deal. Belair looks legitimately injured. And then it just went on. The EMTs, the medicals came out there. Charlotte and Asuka are just wrestling for minutes and minutes and minutes. And Belair's hobbling. She ggets halfway up the aisleway. She collapses on the aisleway. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, was this a legitimate botch? My mind was thinking was this is a legitimate injury, and backstage, Paul Levesque trying to think of a plan B of what to do. And they were trying to get a message relayed to the referee. So that's how Charlotte and Asuka wrestling for the sake of it. That's what this felt like. It just went on and on. I thought they were calling an audible. Belair hobbles back, and she hits this big move, like top rope move to Charlotte. And you think, okay, that's it. And then it went on. And then there was a figure 4 on Belair into a figure 8. And then you think, okay, well, that's going to be it. Charlotte's going to win her 15th women's title to bolster the resume. But then then the mist came in, and then Belair got the roll through on Asuka, and then Belair won the title power to boost her stats, as Art says in the chat, run her numbers up. So she held the title for 5 minutes. And then Io ran out, logically cashed in because it just made sense and won. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think the only reason Belair dropped the title to begin with, because she was starting to get she's held the title for 400 days, sort of, not hate, but what are you doing? It felt sort of directionless at the time, so they gave it to Asuka just to freshen up a tiny bit, I think. I think that's what they were doing. And then Belair won it back to boost her stats, and now Io's champion. That's my interpretation of what Paul Levesque's doing with his pen and pencil while he's sitting in bed at 1 a.m. with Stephanie. That's my interpretation, so there you go.
Yeah, I thought this match went 10 minutes too long. We could have given 6 of these minutes to McIntyre and Gunther. I don't see the point why this match went so long. It just dragged and dragged. Mm-hmm. And literally the crowd was so quiet that you could hear Bianca Belair screaming and crying when she was selling the knee injury. You could hear her audibly, loud and clear, like she's sitting next to you. It was that quiet in in Ford Field at this point in time. I don't know. Go ahead.
Just on that, and I just want to make this point. This show, and we've discussed the main event, we can add any other comments in now if you want to, Kevin, but this show went 4 hours and 15 minutes overall. It was a 4-hour, 15-minute event. This show ended 15 minutes past midnight for you. It's now Sunday morning for you and everyone in the States who are watching on the East Coast. For me, yeah, it's just a 4-hour, 15-minute show, whatever. I wrote down a list. This is just what didn't need to happen. This is what they could have cut to make this a 3 and a bit hour show, which would have made it significantly better. Shave 5 minutes off Logan Paul and Ricochet and fix the ending. So 5 minutes can have been shaved off that. We didn't need Ronda versus Shayna Baszler. We didn't need any part of that on SummerSlam. You can do that as a Raw main event. Have that be the build Raw around the farewell of Ronda or SmackDown, whatever. Just build a show around that. That didn't need to be on SummerSlam. That killed the whole flow of the show. That killed the audience. So that's 20 minutes on top of that. So about 20, 25 minutes you could have saved there. We didn't need the Alpha Academy Miz segment. We didn't need that. We didn't need Mike being harder than last time, being put in a box. We didn't need that. That's 3 minutes. Cut that. Axe that off the show. Then we didn't need 15 minutes of that women's triple threat match. They could have literally done 5 to 8 minutes of wrestling. Belair gets injured. The match is like 10 to 12 minutes. It would have been probably better. Instead, it dragged and dragged. You nearly fell asleep. Half your household's asleep. Your neighborhood's asleep, Kevin. I know you wanted to go up down the street partying about SummerSlam. Everyone's asleep. No one cares. So you could have shaved 15 minutes there. And lastly, randomly, Kevin, this was so random. So they finished the women's triple threat match, as we just discussed. It's like 11:10 for you. We're 3 hours 10, 3 hours 15 into the show. It's 11:15 p.m. You just want to get to sleep. You want to wake up for your big Sunday. Do what you need to do if you want to go to work. If you need to go to the gym, you need to do a family outing, family gathering. And WWE, what are WWE giving us? They're not giving us Tribal Combat. They're giving us Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez like Raw highlights.
Well, while you were watching that, for those of us that don't have Peacock Premium Plus and just have the regular Peacock Premium, we were watching Hot Wheels commercials. I think there was like a 37th commercial for Heels, the TV show that CM Punk and his wife are in on Stars, and your buddy Arrow. There was like a Hot Wheels. There was that Stars commercial. There was a Big E commercial. I don't remember what he was screaming about. Maybe it was another Snickers or something. But it was just literally just commercials. And the only one I could that really stands out is that damn Hot Wheels commercial. I was like,
yeah.
It's 2023 and I'm watching Hot Wheels. Like, I didn't even know Hot Wheels was still a thing anymore.
I was addicted to that when I was 5, and that was in like the late 2000s. That's hilarious. But just to recap, I just listed you for that little bit I did. That was 50 minutes approximately of pay-per-view time they could have shaved. And I personally think they could have cut 10 minutes off the main event. It went back probably 5-10 minutes too long, in my opinion. So in total, that's 1 hour of pay-per-view time. You axe all that crap off, and that's keeping the Battle Royal, which some people would have moved the kickoff show or not done. So I'm keeping the Battle Royal, cutting an hour off this show. It's 3 hours, 15 minutes. Its rating is going up by 2 points if you axe all that stuff. In reality, though, Kevin, what we got on the night, I gave this show a 6 out of 10. SummerSlam 2023. I think the highs were pretty good. I mean, bits of the main event, really enjoyable. Brock and Cody, I personally really like, especially the post-match, which Triple H apparently said in the media conference was unplanned. Apparently, Brock, it was unplanned for him to do that. He just did that on the fly with Cody. That's what I'm being told from the chat. And as well, Logan Ricochet had some good points. Drew and Gunther had some good points. Most of the matches had good points, but nothing was like legendary, all-time great. And then the lows, you've got Ronda, Shayna. You've got the Battle Royal felt unnecessary before the ending. The women's triple threat just went way too long. Yeah, there's my review, pal. What do you think?
I'm laughing here because somebody said that we gotta see Jay versus Jimmy in a Hot Wheels match. Don't give them any ideas, pal. That feels like a Miz match. You just have Miz strolling out there facing Matt Riddle in the middle of Payback, and they're like driving Hot Wheels and bumping into each other. Like I can see something stupid like that. But there you go, Nick Khan. There's your next sponsorship. Hot Wheels match. Get the Miz out there driving the Hot Wheels live on Payback, pal. But I digress. So now my overall thoughts on SummerSlam 2023. Overall rating, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I was underwhelmed, and I said this in the review. I said I was underwhelmed, and then you kind of talked me into being hyped for it because you were so hyped for it.
In the preview, yeah.
Yeah, in the preview, yeah. But I stand by what I said in the preview, and it kind of was what I expected. Rematches.
So go on, continue. Finish your point now. Yeah.
Rematches, and well, I'm seeing what you're laughing at. Jeez. Oh man.
He's not wrong. He might have number 5 coming soon. So carry on.
Wow. Okay, I digress. Now, back to what I was saying. Rematches, underwhelming feuds, random battle royals kind of littered this show.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I would have liked to see Roman versus Jimmy main event. That would have sprinkled a little extra oomph, added a little extra element of unpredictability to the storyline. But we know for reasons beyond our control, Jimmy Uso is seemingly not a liable main eventer based on his track record in the past. Now, I'm just stating facts here. I'm not throwing shade at anyone. So
we're an inclusive podcast. We would never throw judgment or shade. All love Jimmy. Carry on.
Yeah. There you have it. So yeah, 5.5 out of 10 for me. I think in the grand scheme of things, this SummerSlam, we'll look back out into 10 years when you and I are having legitimate shoot fights at our podcast studio in New York City for the viewers' pleasure. We're going to look back at this pay-per-view and we'll probably say, oh, okay, Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Fun. Brock versus Cody, that was cool. That was a big, maybe a swan song. Who knows? Maybe Brock's retiring. That was a big moment for Brock to help make the next star. And then we'll look at it like, Rollins and Fergie, Bianca Belair versus Asuka and Charlotte, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the third time, And then what else we got? Shayna versus Ronda, didn't need to be there. And then maybe we'll look back at the third match and we'll say, wow, this was the moment that a megastar was born. Because we don't know what the future holds for LA Knight. So maybe LA Knight will go on and have just a otherworldly run and get the rocket strapped to him and get sent to Mars, pal. And we'll have LA Knight main eventing pay-per-views for the next 3 years. So yeah, like I said, 5.5 out of 10. Nothing too memorable, and that's where it falls for me.
Yeah, and then I guess closing comment I'll make. I don't know whether, because Money in the Bank in London ended with Roman Reigns getting pinned and it was shocking. This show ended, Jimmy turns on Jay. Cool, that's going to sell the storyline, but it just didn't hit the same. And one other thing before I address what I was just saying in the chat, the placement of matches, Brock and Cody being second was just weird. I'm like, this is your biggest star of 2023 versus a top 10 all-time guy, and it's going second. That was a bit odd. But nonetheless, if someone really changed Jimmy Uso's name in Wikipedia to Mr. DUI, that is unbelievable.
Wow.
That is, wow. From one Jimmy to another, wow. So yeah, there you go. And I give it a 6. You give it a 5.5. Some might say we're being harsh. Others might say every match bar a couple was like 4+ stars and it was a legendary SummerSlam. I guess Triple H wrote it, so it's going to get extra points just because. I view this show the same regardless of who writes it. I watched this 4-hour event, basically all of it outside of the bits of the women's match and bits of the Balor Rollins match. I watched the whole thing, and I think it was a 6 out of 10 show, regardless of who's sitting in gorilla position with a headset on. It was a 6 out of 10, so there you go.
There you have it. All right, so that's been our SummerSlam 2023 review. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for everybody that participated in the chat. I think we peaked at like 36 viewers concurrently at one point, so yeah. The channel's growing. Can't do it without you guys. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Easy. Peace.